up, Wedding Nerdigans? This is the one and only Packer Girl 89, and today's book nerdigan discussion is Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick. If you have not read Black Ice, why the commie are you here? And this is a standalone book, and it's a mystery book. And actually, it's more, the best way to describe it is, it's like Criminal Minds, but without the FBI aspect in here. And I love it. I love Criminal Minds. And Becca, I'm really sorry that it took so long to do this video. I've been so occupied with other shit, but I told you I was going to do it. I'm doing it. So here we go. Let's get to this. And also on the cover, it says danger is hard to resist, which I love. I like that quote. So anyway, so the prologue starts about a year before our main story. And I just kept thinking, like, Lauren, you are a fucking idiot for not going to Stanford at all because her parents didn't like her boyfriend. Seriously, I would dump my boyfriend to go to Stanford. Why the fuck not? I'm sorry. It's fucking Stanford. Either that or just lie to your parents about going to about dating the guy while you're in Stanford. But anyway, so there's a cowboy in there that ties a drunk Lauren up to a pole and tortures her. And this is like Criminal Minds. That's why I said this is like Criminal Minds, especially since this guy is getting off to this. Because admit it, Criminal Minds has really freaky shit. So 1 year later, we have an Akko Taco moment because Calvin, who's Britt's ex-boyfriend, who goes to Stanford, is chaperoning their trip. And boy, like, Britt was so cute in 7-Eleven with her Slurpee. I have to say that. And Mason she was lucky that Mason knew her name and called her his GF. And like, you have to wonder, how did he know this? How? And seriously, because Britt made that shit up to piss off Calvin. And what was even more creepier was that Mason knew hella shit about Britt, like her Slurpee addiction and her father's favorite activity, which was fly fishing. But whatever, it pissed off Calvin. And then we find out Lauren, who's the famous socialite, disappeared from Jackson Hole. Jackson Hole. So you know what that means? It means the Black Wings got her. If you don't know the reference, go read the Unearthly series, because that takes place in Jackson Hole. And seriously, Calvin is such a dick. Like, what kind of guy breaks up with his girlfriend on homecoming night? And you know where he was? He was getting drunk at a sports bar in California. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And Corby's her best friend, but Corby's kind of a bitch, I have to say that. And it's weird that Corby and Britt get stranded in the snow and they wander in the mountains and find Sean's cabin with Mace. I was so happy. But Mace isn't happy to see Britt for a reason. And seriously, Corby, like, I have to say that Sean was kind of hot, and Britt was totally hitting on him. And seriously, but Corby also has a boyfriend too. So it's like, what the fuck? And we find out, and I like that we get these flashbacks into her relationship with Calvin. I thought that was really cool. And we find out that Calvin cheated on Britt during their relationship. Corby, that's what Corby said, that Calvin cheated on Britt. Okay, seriously, Britt, Corby is officially a shitty friend, like fucking A. And Corby has diarrhea of the mouth and is getting on everyone's nerves. I would too. And Britt found, first, let me mention this, that Sean has Corby and Britt at gunpoint, and Britt found a decomposed body in a toolbox, and we have to wonder if it's Lauren's or not. And seriously, I hope Mace beats the shit out of Sean, like, for choking Britt. Like, because that really I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then we have our first flashback here. During a Ouija board with Corby, Britt, and Cal was going to be the first to die by rope by his dad. And the thing that I like about this book is that the flashbacks end up tying into the whole situation. And that's why I said this book is very Criminal Minds-like. And then they're leaving Corby behind, and seriously, they're in the snow, and oh my gosh. Britt did something really sneaky before that, which was, saying where the Jeep was and saying that Corby had diabetes and she needed the insulin or whatever. That was really smart. And you'll see what Mason says too. So the fucking Rangers aren't even in the station because she was tricking them to, you know, go to the Ranger station. And something that she uses, and and she stole it at the beginning of the book, was Calvin's map of the whole area. That map played a huge part in this book. And finally, the warden shows up, and yep, Sean is a wanted man, too. You boys robbed a Subway shop and shot a police officer while trying to get away. You put a teenage girl in the hospital after you hit her and ran. You're lucky she's alive. You're lucky the officer you shot is alive. But nobody in the criminal justice system is going to look kindly on it. Things aren't looking good for you, but they're going to be a hell of a lot worse if you don't lower your weapon immediately. I have to ask, why the fuck would you rob a Subway? And then Sean killed the cop/warden, and Britt attempts to escape, and she does this a couple of times, and Mason finds her. And right as they were going back to the cabin, Calvin shows up, pissed the fuck off at Sean, and he says this: "I know you. I've seen you around at Silver Dollar Cowboy Bar." Silver Dollar, that's the same bar that Lauren was at. You like to get girls really drunk and take their picture like some pervert. I saw you with that girl, the socialite who went missing. Maybe I should tell the cops. And then Calvin killed Sean and took his money, and then sets the shelter on fire. Like, kind of like, you know, that's karma. I was just thinking, that's just fucking karma, you moron. And the reaction from Sean was interesting. Like, Sean was shocked, and at the same time, he was just like, what the fuck are you talking about? I thought that was interesting. But now Calvin's going to go save Corby. And Mason revealed his real name, which is Jude. And I didn't want Sean to know my real name. I didn't want him to have anything on me in case we had a falling out. I didn't trust him. And while I'm not sure I can trust you either, I'm putting myself out there. I'm hoping you'll meet halfway. If I open up to you, maybe I can convince you to share your secrets. And I was laughing at this. I was named after Jude the Apostle, also known as Jude, patron saint of lost causes. I thought that was funny. Of course it's true. I'm here with you, aren't I? Actually, the opposite. I think you're more capable than people give you credit for. Sometimes I wonder what kind of girl you were before you came on this trip. And there was a reason I liked Jude. I knew there was a reason I liked Jude. He's a Bay Area man. Yep, he's from the Bay Area. I love it. And then Jude on what really happened. They're not friends. You were right about that. We work together. That's it. Odd jobs here and there. Nothing to be particularly proud of. Sean had things I needed and vice versa. That was a robbery, plain and simple. And after I saw you at 7-Eleven, I met up with Sean at our motel. We had some business to take care of in Blackfoot, and we went together in his truck. On the way, Sean wanted to stop for a late lunch, or so he told me. He went inside the subway. I held the cashier. He went inside the subway, held the cashier at gunpoint, then panicked when an officer arrived on the scene. Fucking moronic criminals. I was in the truck. I heard the shot and started to climb out. I didn't know what was going on. Sean came running and yelled at me to get back in the truck. If I hadn't gotten back in, Sean would have taken off without me, and I would have been arrested. Plus, the gun Sean used to shoot the officer was mine. So I got in the truck and we fled. We went through the mountains hoping to evade the police, but then the snow hit. We were forced to wait out the storm, and that's when we met you. Last week before I came to the mountains, Sean had me go with him to collect money from a guy who owed him. It was my job to lean on the guy. We didn't give him the heads up we were coming, but he must have gotten tipped off. We'd only been there a couple of minutes when we heard sirens. We bolted for the alley, and the police followed on foot. I had to dump my gun, and Sean saw me throw it in a garbage bin before we split up. We lost the cops, but by the time I circled back to the garbage bin, my gun was gone. Sean got to it first, and he wouldn't return it. I came up with a few ideas to get it back, but they all would take time. If I'd known a few days later he was going to shoot a cop, I would have worked faster. And then this was interesting when the Timberwolves showed up. This is what Jude said. He said, they won't attack unless they are sick or provoked. I'm worried about grizzly bears. They often follow wolves, then move in after the pack makes a kill. They're freeloaders, especially in spring when they've been hibernating and you're hungry. There's a term that I could use that Tommy Sotomayor uses, but I'm probably not going to use it because I probably would be called a racist, and I'm not going to do that. And yep, Jude was fucking played like a fiddle, because Britt used Calvin's map to lead you to the ranger station. And we find out why Jude is so smart. He went to a wilderness camp. And then this is what Britt says about Corby's boyfriend, Bear. His real name is Kautai. He moved to Idaho from Tonga when we were in junior high school. He didn't speak a word of English, but he was this big, surly-looking guy, so nobody teased him. And then he joined the football team. He carried the team to the National Football Youth Championships in Las Vegas. That's how he got his name. And not only did he look like a bear, but he was an animal on the field. And I have totally mad respect for Jude right now. I think I wanted to prove myself that while I couldn't help being rich, I wasn't a spoiled, lazy, entitled punk. And wilderness camp was my personal crusade to separate myself from my family's lifestyle. And too bad the camp he went to is now being sued for child abuse, considering 2 of the kids in his group died. Yeah. And so Jude is 21, so yeah, he's legal. And a grizzly bear came, and she said to, and Britt said to just make a loud noise, not to run. And the grizzly bit Jude's leg. And see, Jude, Britt was right. And I was so pissed off at the grizzly bear too, because there was a hot kiss between Britt and Jude. I swear, the grizzly bear was such a fucking pervert because especially if it's stalking them. And oh man, I knew it. I fucking knew it. Because Jude said the first time he wanted to kiss her was at 7-Eleven. And now we have to wonder if, and then Britt found pictures in Lauren's diary and locket. So what, Jude, you think that Jude's the killer, and you're like thinking the whole time, like, no, Jude, don't be the killer. And then Britt she ran away and made it to Idlewild, which is where she was originally going to go, to Cal, and he's taking care of her. And after all that character development, seriously, it pissed me off. Because remember, Britt was starting to become self-reliant, and she was becoming a stronger person, but then she went and had Cal take care of her, and I was like, God damn it. Oh, and Cal said Britt was his girl. And you have to wonder, then why the fuck were you not looking for her? If Britt was your girl, why the fuck were you not looking for her, Calvin? And then Cal tries to sleep with her, and she's like, fuck you, get the hell away from me. So yeah, Cal has been denied. And then Jude shows up, thank God, and it turns out Lauren was Jude's sister. The police gave up on finding her, but I never did. I had her diary and poured through it for clues. I went to every bar, club, pool hall, and hotel in Jackson Hole that I thought she might have visited. I paid people to talk, and one person, a bartender, remembered seeing Lauren leave this bar with the cowboy. The bartender later leaked to the news that Lauren was seen leaving the Silver Dollar Cowboy bar with a man in a black Stetson, which infuriated me because I didn't want to tip off the man I was hunting for. Then I went back to that same bar every night for weeks until at last Sean came in. He matched the description, and I learned his name and ran a background check and found out he'd recently moved to Wyoming from Montana, where he had a record of misdemeanors, petty theft, simple assault, and disorderly conduct. I was pretty sure I had my man. I quit college, left my friends and family, and moved to Wyoming and made it to my full-time job to earn Sean's trust. I created a false identity and committed petty crimes and hustled his enemies to prove myself to him. I would have done whatever it took to get Sean to confide in me. I believed eventually he'd confess to killing Lauren, and then once I knew for sure he'd done it, I'd murder him slowly. Holy shit. And killing Sean if he'd murdered Lauren was my endgame. He started bragging about some of his crimes, like blackmailing wealthy married women with pictures he took of them when they were drunk. Seriously. fucking pervert, a little longer, and I was sure he'd tell me about Lauren. And so then he robbed the subway and shot a cop. Sean was freaked out. I'd never seen him so afraid. He knew we were in trouble, and as he sped away, he was so panicked he hit a girl crossing the street. I don't think he even saw her. His reaction should have caused me to reconsider the likelihood that he'd killed before, but I didn't want to be wrong about him. I've been hunting for Lauren's killer too long to go back to square one, and after Sean shot a cop, we were forced to go on the run. To make matters worse, you and Corby showed up at the cabin we were hiding in. And instead of making your safety my priority, I was furious you'd screwed up my plans. It was like I wasn't even human. Everything had narrowed to that one target. If he killed her, I was going to return the favor to him. And if there were consequences for me, damn them. I knew I'd go down for it, but it seemed right. I wanted to die. I'd failed Lauren and didn't deserve anything less. And when you and I teamed up to make it off the mountain alive, something happened to me. I came out of the rage. For the first time in months, I had someone other than Lauren's ghost to hold on to. Oh, character development! I wanted to keep, wait a minute. I wanted to be there for you, Britt. I told myself I was worth more alive than dead. I had to keep fighting because you needed me. And this is how Drew got the locket. I found it in Sean's truck right after you took me hostage. After we took you hostage. I went to get your gear from the Wrangler, but first I broke into Sean's truck and ransacked it. I knew it might be my only chance to see what, only chance to see what he was keeping in there. I found Lauren's locket in a metal box under a seat. I also found Lauren's picture. There were pictures of other women too, but all I could focus was on that I finally had what I was looking for. Proof he knew Lauren. Proof he targeted her, watching and photographing her for days before he made his move. I had to sew the locket and picture along with the diary and handcuffs I already had into a canvas bag, and a bag I could keep hidden from Sean. That took time, which was why I was late getting back with the gear. And Britt found out, she was snooping, and she found out that Calvin hadn't been at Stanford. He'd been at Idlewild this whole time. And it was Calvin that killed Macy O'Keefe and Lauren. Because the place looked lived in for a while, and it just was very fishy, and she found some other things too. And here we go. This is what he said to Calvin. Jude said, 3 green dots on the map. You forgot to label them. 3 green dots, 3 abandoned shelters, 3 dead girls. See a connection? One of the green dots on your map marks a trapper's hut where Kimani Yoel's strangled body was found by hikers. The other 2 dots marked abandoned cabins. Ugh. Well, we're on the subject of theories. Here's another one. I don't think Kimani's boyfriend murdered her, and I don't think Macy O'Keefe was killed along the river, where she was working as a rafting guide. And I don't think Lauren Huntsman got drunk and accidentally drowned in the lake. I think you killed them, then dumped their bodies where they wouldn't be found. What kind of idiot killer creates physical evidence against himself? Why? How far are you willing to go to keep your secret? Would you kill Britt if she knew? Oh my god. This, seriously. He needs to go, he needs to go to be on Criminal Minds. He is brilliant. And Stanford rejected Calvin, and that's why he killed the girls, because they got into Stanford. Yep, that's why. If I told him I didn't get into college, his father anyway, he would have killed me rather than deal with the humiliation. So I had to lie to everyone about Stanford and hide here at Idlewild. I didn't want to, and I definitely didn't want to kill Lauren. I didn't plan her death. I was hiking one night and came across Sean taking pictures of her. She was wearing a Cardinals ball cap, and something in me snapped. See, this is Criminal Minds. She was wasted, and that only made me angrier. Stanford had accepted a drunk, but not me. I wanted to take Stanford from her, but I couldn't. So when Sean went to the tool shed, I took her light. And Cal threw Britt out into the cold without her jacket and boots. Seriously. And Corby, I understand where Corby's coming from because that's her brother, but you dumbass. Seriously, don't you think something's wrong? And the Cardinals, wait a minute. And then Britt rescued Jude because he was tied up and beaten. And yeah, I was so happy that she did that. She was sneaky. It was fucking genius. And then the Cardinals cap Calvin gave Britt was actually Lauren's. And then the chopper is coming, Calvin. Deal with it. And Calvin went after Marcy, who he worked with, because she got into Georgetown. And Kimani got into Juilliard, and everyone in town knew. So it's not just Stanford. It was like to prestigious schools, if you notice, because Juilliard is really, really good, one of the most prestigious schools in the country, and same with Georgetown. And they tied up Calvin and while they were getting the chopper, and he attempted suicide. Yeah, that son of a bitch is a coward. And a private chopper came. It was Cal's dad and the cops. And it's time for Jude to make his escape. And 6 days later, the truth was out there. And the Veerstags, Corby, Calvin, and the rest of their family, weren't speaking to Britt, considering the Cal's situation betrayal. What the fuck is wrong with you guys? Like, that is retarded. You should be thanking her that she revealed this bullshit about your son. But yeah, it's kind of bad that it was, it was in the press. But fucking A, like, this is ridiculous. And Britt was treated for dehydration and hypothermia. And then Calvin is being held on 4 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. Found incompetent to stand trial, he suffered severe brain damage during an attempted suicide shortly before his arrest and is expected to be committed to a state mental hospital for appropriate treatment. I was so sad when Jude, so he's fucked up. So I was really sad when Jude said goodbye. I was like, no, Jude, don't go. And then we get our epilogue. 1 year later, and it's going. Britt went to Van Dam Beach to hunt for sea snails, because that was brought up with Jude. Jude mentioned hunting for sea snails, and Jude found her, or she found Jude on the beach, and it was so cute. And he took her on a fabulous date. And I had so many feels and happy tears for this. So Jude has been coming to Van Dam Beach every weekend waiting for Britt. And he's going to get her a job and have her stay with him this summer. It's like, oh, Jude. And this is how it ends. I covered his mouth with mine. He tasted of salt water, and it hit me how lucky I was. All summer I could lie with Jude on the beach, dusting our bodies in sand, kissing the ocean from his lips, listening to the soft pound of waves lull us to sleep in each other's arms. I'll stay, I said. I think you're worth the trouble of putting up with endless beaches and sun a little longer. And he grinned. I'm worth it all right, and just to prove it, I'll show you. Come here. It was, oh my god, I love this book. This book, like, you nerdigans know that I'm not a mystery person, because I'm mainly into fantasy, but this book was so good. It was so well written. I loved it. I want to know what your thoughts are. If you did you like it? Did you hate this book? And if you don't like it, I want to know why, because I love this book. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, and remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Nerdigans Inc. And also make sure you donate to my Patreon, which is in the link in the description box. The link is in the description box below. And also follow me on Twitter, and so you can keep up with all my book Nerdigan updates. And until next time, the next book Nerdigan discussion is going to be Fallen by Laura and Kate. I'll see you next time. Bye.